So I'm going to start with a reading from Ephesians 2, verse 10. And in this section, Paul has just explained justification by faith. And he ends that section with, "For we are his workmanship, created in Christ Jesus for good works, which God prepared beforehand that we should walk in them." The doctrine of vocation was another major discovery during the Reformation. One can say that not only was the gospel rediscovered, but vocation was rediscovered as well. And up until the Reformation, there was a distinction between a life of church work and a life that most average people lived. And this was tied to that idea of merit that they had before the Reformation. Doing holy things would earn you merit before God. And so if you think of this as a spiritual ladder, that's kind of what they had in mind. Creation was at the bottom, it was corrupted by sin and death, and spiritual heaven was up at the top. It was eternal and uncorrupted and pure. And you climbed up that ladder through spiritual disciplines, which earned you merit. And so we had things like celibacy was considered more holy than marriage, poverty was more holy than wealth. So a system developed in which spiritual athletes who could climb this ladder could earn merit for others. And that was the monasteries, convents, the cult of the saints. All of that was tied to this. So most people in the world at that time thought of their day-to-day life as totally disconnected from God. And then when Luther rediscovered the gospel, and that our righteousness before God is by faith in the gospel of Jesus Christ, all of a sudden that ladder got pushed over. Luther realized that good works, and he realized this through studying the scriptures, these good works that we were called to do were not for our relationship with God. They were not for climbing this spiritual ladder. They're actually the way that God serves his creation. A lot of people have this hang-up, this guilt, that unless they're actually in a church doing something or actively doing something for the church, God isn't involved in what they're doing. But the gospel, it actually turns us back to creation, back to the mundane things of daily life, back to our neighbors, because God is at work there. And the beauty of vocation is that suddenly every relationship takes on new meaning and new significance. And even the most mundane, gross task, say changing your baby's diaper, takes on eternal significance. Because it is God who calls you to that moment for your neighbor.